Kartini, From Darkness to Light. This is a 1 to 6 player solo, co-op, or competitive game where you manage girls' schools in Indonesia to advance their education and independence in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Now let's take a look at the components. You have a map board. Around the map board is a victory point track. On the top right, you have the turn order or reward track. In the middle, you have the map, which are made up of different islands that are different colors. There are different regions in each island, pupils that will be replenished, and fight or battle spaces. The progression board. On the top left, you have the book supply. Under that, you have patron clusters. Next to that, you have your teacher area, the From Darkness to Light track, space for events, and spaces for milestones. From Darkness to Light token, student row boards. These have spaces for rewards and a place for graduates and the reputation requirement. Hired teachers. These have aspiration and requirement or cost. Hero students. These have a frame, a pupil, aspiration, requirement, and ability. Student cards. These have an aspiration, a pupil space, and requirement. Kartini letters. These have your starting resources on the left, text, a goal, and victory points. Milestone cards. These have a reward and an explanation. Co-op milestones. Events. School boards. These have a name that corresponds to the region. Bonus token spaces. Books. Pupils. 3 classrooms for politicians, fighters, and patrons. A reputation track and an endowment track. School tokens. Principal tokens. Pupils. Graduation hat. Victory point tracker. Reputation tracker. Endowment tracker. A player aid. Book tokens. Battle tokens. Bonus token. Donate token. Duets. And your rulebook. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a competitive 3-player game, which takes 18 steps. Step 1, place the map and progression board in the middle of the play area. Step 2, get player components. Choose a color and get the player components. A school board, player aid, principal, 10 school tokens, 15 graduation hats, reputation tracker, endowment tracker, victory point tracker, player aid, and if you're playing co-op, you would get 1 donate token. Step 3, set up student rows. Place the student row boards next to the map board. You would separate the student cards by color, shuffle, and place student side up next to the student row, and deal the top 2 next to the deck for the colors of the players. Step 4, place pupils. Place 5 matching pupils on each island, 2, 2, and 1, in each region matching the icons. Then you'll place the remaining above the boards. Step 5, choose a first player. The last player to read a book is the first player, placing their principal on first on the turn order track, and then you would go clockwise. Step 6, create a supply pool for duets and donate tokens. You will have a number of donate tokens equal to the number of players minus 1. Step 7, if you are playing the co-op, you would place enemy cubes based on the chart in the rulebook. Step 8, you would place books. Place a number of books per color on the progression board. For a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 player game, you would place 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, or 9 books per color. Step 9, place battle tokens. Shuffle the battle tokens, place one randomly battle side up in each region. Then place the rest above the board. Step 10, place the From Darkness to Light token on the start space on the progression board. Step 11, create hired teacher pools. Based on their aspiration, you would separate them and create 3 stacks of teachers equal to the number of players. Step 12, shuffle and reveal 3 milestones. Step 13, shuffle and place events on the progression board. Step 14, put a +2 duets on column B on the student rows. Step 15, place bonus tokens victory point side down in column C through E on each student row. Step 16, place heroes. Shuffle the heroes deck and place it student side up below the main board, and then you would draw the top 4 cards to create the hero row. Step 17, choose starting school. Place a school token in a region with 2 pupils of your color, and then you would place the pupils in your schoolyard. Step 18, get Kartini letters. Shuffle the Kartini letters, deal 2 to each player. You would choose 1 to keep and 1 to discard. You would get the starting resources on the left side and then adjust your tracks based on the card. If you are to select books, you will select them in reverse turn order. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. A game consists of 3 rounds. Each round consists of 3 phases. The action phase, where you will take 1 action going in order until all players pass. The milestone phase, where you will score a milestone for the round. And the cleanup phase, where you will refresh the board, adjust population, and gain duets. Now let's take a look at each in detail. Phase 1, the action phase. In turn order, you will take one action, going around until all players pass. These actions are hire a teacher, recruit pupils, register students, gather books, graduation, and pass. Now let's look at each action. Hire a teacher. You would pay the duits or endowment and place the teacher in the classroom matching the aspiration. Keep in mind that this teacher will come back to this space during the cleanup phase. The second action, recruit pupils. You'll take all pupils from a region where you have a school. If you are on a border, you would choose between the two regions. Also, if you share an island with another player, you could pay them 1 to take pupils from anywhere they have a school. You would place the pupils in your schoolyard. The third action, register students. Take a student card from the student row matching the color of a pupil in your schoolyard. You would place it in the classroom matching the aspiration icon. You would place the matching pupil on the card's meeple icon. Keep in mind that there can be multiple students in each classroom. You would pay the cost. The +2 icon pays 2 to the supply. If there is a politician above that student, you would pay 1 to the player with that graduation hat. Keep in mind that if you have a pupil from an island where you do not have a school, you can still register a student. These students do not refresh until cleanup. You can also register hero students. These are wild for pupil color. These will go to matching classrooms, but only some can become a teacher. These will give you special abilities when they graduate. If you take a hero, you will refresh the heroes. The fourth type of action, gather books. You can gather up to 3 books. You can pay 2 for each book, exchange 2 for 1, or trade with players, duits for books. The fifth type of action, graduate. To graduate, you need a teacher, pupil, and student in a classroom as well as the required books. If you have 2 non-color book requirements, then 1 must be in that aspiration color. Keep in mind that heroes may require more. When you have a graduation, you would pay books and requirements, gain 1 reputation for a student and 2 for a hero, flip the student card if it is a teacher, or place it in your graduation pile if it is not, and you would gain the instant effects. Take a graduation hat, place it under the pupil, and move it to the occupation slot. If it is a fighter, you would move it to the map. Patron to a cluster on the progression board. Politician to a student row. And teacher to the teacher box on the progression board. Then you would gain any bonus, keeping in mind that tokens are activated from after that graduation on, or resolve the event or hero ability. Then you would advance 1 step in the darkness to light track. For each graduation, you would advance the darkness to light track 1 space. This could affect events, books available, reputation, and all the do-it, reputation, endowment come from non-graduating players. Replace battle tokens or remove teachers. When it comes to the occupations, fighters allow you to access islands and battle colonials. They allow you to access new islands and give you loot. Patrons gain places in society, which gives you loot on the progressive board and an extra endowment and victory point. Politicians lobby for more pupils. You would gain loot and money for students registered under that politician from that island. Plus, you will get to move your school to a border, which gives you more freedom to choose pupils. Teachers will become permanent teachers of a particular aspiration and give you extra victory points. When you have the fighter occupation, you would pay books and any requirements, gain 1 reputation for a student and 2 for a hero, discard the student next to your board, place a grad hat under the pupil, choose a battle token with less than or equal to your reputation. You would flip it over and gain the loot. Then you would place the graduation and pupil in that spot, place a school in that region, and gain the pupils in that region to your schoolyard. Keep in mind that you can have 1 school per color, and if you are first to the island, you would reveal 2 students for that student row. Keeping in mind that you can only have 1 per player in each region. Then you would advance 1 step in the darkness to light track. For a patron, you would pay the books and requirement, gain a reputation, gain an endowment, remove the pupil and place under it a grad hat, discard the student card next to your board, place that patron and grad hat. You can place it in the first cluster, and then you must have a first cluster to place 1 in the second, and then the third, and they also have reputation requirements. And then you would gain the bonus, gain a victory point, and keep in mind that if no places are left, you would gain 1 endowment. Then you would advance 1 step in the darkness to light track. For a teacher, you would pay the books and requirement, gain 1 reputation, place the pupil on a grad hat, flip the student to the teacher side, place the pupil in the teacher association on the progression board, and gain a book matching the aspiration. And then gain victory points from the teacher card. Then you would advance 1 step in the darkness to light track. For the politician, You would pay books and requirements, gain 1 reputation, move the pupil on a grad hat, discard the student card next to your board, put the pupil on an icon to the right of the 2 do-its token on any student row the player has access to. Then you would get the bonus token, place it on your school board. You can have a max of 3 bonus tokens. If you have more than that, you would flip 1 over, slide the 2 do-its token down, then you would gain the victory point bonus under that token, add a new student card, and then move a school in any region from a region to a border that region has with another region. Then you would advance 1 step in the darkness to light track. And the last action, pass. You would move your principal on the turn order track to a reward on the second row, and then from left to right will be the turn order for the next round. Also gain a donate token, and each time that you pass, you will flip that token over, and each time a yellow side is face up, you would gain 1 do-it. Once all players pass, we move to phase 2, the milestone phase. This is where you score the milestone according to the round, and then flip the card. Once you score the milestone, you move to phase 3, the cleanup phase. This phase takes 7 steps. Step 1, move your reputation down 1 for each pupil in your schoolyard and ungraduated student in your classroom. If you go to 0, any more, you would lose victory points. Step 2, gain do-its equal to your endowment. Step 3, return donate tokens to the supply. Step 4, discard hire teachers back to the supply. Step 5, discard the rightmost hero card and refresh. Step 6, discard the leftmost students, slide to the left, and then refill students. Step 7, repopulate with pupils up to the matching printed number of that color on the map. And then we would start a new round. And then rounds would continue until the end of phase 2 in the 3rd round. And we would go to the final scoring. The final scoring takes 7 steps. Before you start, you must decrease your reputation 1 for any pupils on your school board. Step 1, score reputation. You would gain 0, 1, 2, or 3 victory points for 1 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, or 8 reputation. Step 2, score endowment. You would gain 0, 1, 2, or 3 victory points for 1 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, or 8 endowment. Step 3, score 1 victory point per school. Step 4, score game end victory points. You would score your bonus tokens. Step 5, score graduated. You would score based on different colored frames on your graduated students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 different frames. You would score 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 20, or 25 victory points. Step 6, score patrons. You would gain 1 victory point for the most patrons in each cluster. And then step 7, score your end goal. Once you've calculated your final victory point total, the player with the most victory points is the winner of Kartini from Darkness to Light.